See the little recording. Hello, everybody. Thank you once again for hanging out with us at the third show. Undivided loves you and appreciates all your comments, good, bad, indifferent. We love them all because it lets you know, let us know that you're listening. I want to thank my brother Shannon and his quick recording finger, and always my brother Smitty. And Beatrice, who is our sister in arms, she's not here, but she's never away.
His trigger finger is faster than his recording finger.
Yes, it is.
Note that. Note that.
Brings us to a good thing. Now, let's do a quick recap over last week's show. And it was going to do a quick thing, and we're just going to move on because we have more important things. But I just want to keep the listeners involved. Whoever missed last week's show, it's worth going back to because it was. This is the order. It went schools, religion, and midgets.
In that order.
In that order. You let me know of a better show. That's going to bring you school, religion, and midgets. We got hit on.
Jerry Springer couldn't deliver that.
No. Not as eloquent. Definitely.
Midgets working in the drive-thru.
That still, stop saying that. Because it was midget preachers. I told a personal story.
I think we had a midget preacher call us.
Well, you know, I was gonna say something bad about his midget friends, but
Pimping in the pulpit.
this is the thing. One of our biggest complaints, and I'm just gonna hit on this, and we're gonna keep it pushing. One of our biggest complaints was from a pastor. Now, during the show last week, I made a clear statement. This is not talking to all pastors. We're not talking about all churches. They all are, not all of them are bad. But it's always funny when those ones who step up and want to voice their opinion. So I guess we hit a nerve. We came close to some stuff. You took it a little personal. We got into your pocket, maybe. Or got into your bedroom. Or I'm not saying, but I'm just asking questions. Now, on to today's show. There's something I do want to talk about. I think is very important, and I think this is one of those things that we need to make sure people clear about. It's the idea of that we have a lot of violence towards Asians that was culminated by a murder, a mass murder in Atlanta, right? That's where it was at.
Is that a murder or an assassination?
That was
We're calling this yeah. You know what? We're gonna call it what it was. It was an assassination.
Thank you.
Because there's no way in the world that anybody can tell anybody with a clear thought, that it wasn't racially motivated, it wasn't racially executed, and then it wasn't racially covered up.
Well, I'm going to let you go.
Go ahead. No, please. This is an open.
This is open. Go.
I'm just dropping the topic.
Again, I'm a big word whore, and how people structure things to manifest their own history.
Mm-hmm.
They said that Abraham Lincoln was an assassination. Yes. That was white on white violence at the highest level. Okay.
Yeah.
They said Kennedy was assassination. White on white crime at its highest level. You're murdering the president in both occasions.
Mm-hmm.
This, what just happened in Georgia, where a white domestic terrorist set out, that's first degree murder. Let's just say that he planned it. So that's first degree. Yeah. You planned it. Set out to murder a particular group. Now, I want to say this in all respect. He said he was upset at sex workers because he's a sex addict. So, but he specifically targeted Asians. And my rebuttal is, how come you didn't? If you was a sex addition, how come you didn't murder white prostitutes who are on the corner a dime a dozen? So
Mhm.
that was a premeditated assassination of an Asian group of people. If Abraham getting assassinated was premeditated and Kennedy was getting assassinated premeditated, then these Asian people who got their lives taken short by this clown, that's premeditated.
Yes.
But and I think what people also need to be aware of, this took place in Georgia.
Yes.
It took place where we know things haven't changed. Keep in mind the gunman was white, and then law enforcement said they don't believe this was racially motivated. So
That's-
what does that make them?
Facts.
So
Hold on, I'm sorry. And then what did it say? Well, you know, it came down to. I'm sorry, my mouth got all. Everything wanted to come out right then. Now it came down to the idea of, what did he say? He was having a bad day.
he was having a bad day because he has a sex addiction.
Yeah, sex addiction. That has been his sex addiction has been brought on by his diabetes.
Right, but
Hold on, no. There's no right. We're gonna let that sit for a minute.
we can't let that sit because
his sex addiction is a side effect of him having diabetes.
Well, I y'all know me. I always try to keep it 1,000 on the show. So you got a sex addiction. That justifies you murdering people. Okay. Now, if that's the case, I just want to say this.
Uh-huh.
I was channel surfing last night.
Yeah.
Now, because of my fortunate circumstances, I have every single channel open.
Yes.
And I come across a 1970s all women prison flick.
Nice.
Now, if this terrorist would have just waited a couple days, he could have partook in a 70s fest. Now, I was born in the 70s,
Facts.
so a lot of the beginning is a little bit blurred. But I will tell you this. What I did find out last night, watching this particular flick, I didn't watch it all because it got too much for me. The 70s was the Bush Nation. Now, I'm not sure if this young terrorist known that, but you know, he could have easily took his frustrations out with stranger danger, watching this flick, and no one would have got hurt, and no one would have been wiser.
Hold on.
less.
There's a
You know what
question.
he
There's
said,
a
you
question.
know what
Hold
I
on,
think-
Shannon. There's a question from the studio audience.
So you are hypoglycemic.
Yes.
So you get
Oh, okay. The question was that I'm hypoglycemic,
Okay,
so which is a precursor to being diabetic.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I don't have those as an addict.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like it and I want some.
Right.
I mean, you know,
Okay. No, you know what? I don't want
Why?
to get off track.
I ain't gonna kill nobody. Now, hold
what
on.
constitutes an addict? What constitutes a sex addict? I know drugs. But what constitutes a
Same
sex
thing.
addict?
You can't.
If
You
you are
can't do
married-
nothing. You can't do nothing. That's your life. It's trying to get you some.
But
That
see,
is
and here's
sure.
the thing. And here's
Go
the
ahead.
thing. Everybody's trying to look at this from a logical standpoint. None of this is logical, and
No.
you can never look at it that way. And actually, you have to go back to the main source of the root what actually started this.
Trump.
Is Trump. They're pappy, calling it the China virus. And
Yes.
it's they pappy.
And
I
yeah,
wanna
yeah.
see it
Oh,
back.
yeah.
Yeah,
They
they
might as
wanna
well
see
just
it
start
back.
calling him daddy at this point.
Yeah,
I mean,
Because
they have these white Americans yelling at Asian Americans, go back to China, you brought us the flu. You know, if people really have that state of mind, that tells you where this country is. You know, well, I shouldn't even say that. That's where the country has always been.
it's just coming out now.
It's just
but
that
we
they
can't
pass
say
it.
we can't say that they're just going after them because they made attacks at us, at blacks,
Yeah.
at Latinos. I think what they found out is that our races just me speaking, my opinion,
Uh-huh.
they see our younger generation as being tired. They really don't want to get their ass whooped.
Yeah.
So they trying to go for an easier target. What they don't know is that a lot of these Asians are trained in martial arts and will whoop their ass.
Hold
Man.
on. I want to interject, and it's not even martial arts. These young, I know some young Asians, very close and dear to my heart. This not just martial arts that these folks, because that I think that's stereotypical, and that's
Yeah.
fine, you know.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
but they take it a lot more serious than that. And you run
Yeah.
across the wrong Asian. And when I say
They
Asian,
would, you would get some
I'm
hands.
being wide scoping here, but you run across the wrong Asian,
You won't get embarrassed.
you're gonna get embarrassed real quick.
Yeah.
You lucky if you walk away with your life. That's just real talk. I'm just saying.
Yes.
You know, yeah, okay.
Because it is a thing. And back to
How
the
you gonna?
idea.
But here's my thing. You know, this man sat there. How he gonna go assassinate the people who brought shrimp fried rice, chicken
I don't
fried
even
rice?
know what the hell
Hold
we
on.
just went
I
to right
want to
now.
say this, because I go back to the previous show and some of the comments I've made since we started this. And this goes back to the picking and choosing what part of the Bible you want to thump, what part of conformity you want to conform to. And I know this is going to sound racial and it's going to sound weird, but I have to just be honest because I call it a spade a spade. We don't hear about white Americans attacking Samoans. Now, stereotypically, Samoans are a little bit larger than the average human being. And I'm just saying girth. You know, they could be tall, wide, or whatever the case is.
Well,
You know
that's
what I'm
just
saying?
facts.
Well, facts is facts. And I have never heard any white American running up on a Samoan telling them to go back to where you came from. Never heard of it. Why?
See,
Why?
okay, so I know a couple of Samoans. My son is friends with them. Actually, we're friends. My family's friends, and I can tell you why.
Oh,
Because that's that automatic, Dustin.
automatic.
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 And that's just one of them things. You will, and then it's the idea of a physical threat automatically.
Yes. A confrontation right then and there.
Right then and there. I mean, matter of fact, I was talking to my daughter, and she was like, we were talking about race relations and how black people, I mean, white Americans see black Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had it around, she says, well, Dad, you know, you're a little bit bigger than average. So people, because I was trying to explain to her how I have to be cool because I don't want people automatically judging me. Number one, I already know I'm gonna get judged because I'm a black dude. Two, I know I'm gonna get judged because I'm over 5'8".
Let me say this because that's a great point, and let's go down this road really quick. Here's my problem with that, Troy, and I respect you as a man and as a brother and as a human being. And I've had this conversation with two extra large black men. One is 6'8", about 305. The other one was a good 6'4", 6'5", solid 280, 290.
Big men, yes.
Big, very, very large individuals. Super cool people. Cool people.
Oh, no.
But in different scenarios, they've shared with me, like how they kind of keep their composure because their posture is intimidating. Just their presence intimidates them. So, and this is what they told me, they don't really go out of their way to press the issue because they're already coming off as the angry big black guy.
Automatically.
Right. And so they'll kind of take a step back and allow or allow reason to come in instead of imposing their will. And here's my problem with that. Why do you have to reduce yourself because of your physical presence? I've never heard a white man say that, no matter how big there are. I've never heard any. So why do big black men have to almost feel, I don't know, they have to be excused for being who they are?
Yes.
Okay, my voice is deep. I am 6'8". I am 305. And you know what? If you fuck with me, you're gonna get all.
You're gonna get all of that.
Absolutely.
You're
I
gonna
don't
get
need
all
to.
of
I
that.
don't need to make myself a little bit smaller to appease you to make you feel better. So that's always been my thing, dog.
No, and I understand that because it is, we have, as we all know, we have the automatic, I'm gonna call the police.
Correct.
You know, it was, what was I watching? Oh, it was a thing, and it was a video in Arizona. This couple, I think it was, I was watching on CNN. This couple went in to have a meeting with their landlord, and the dude pulled a gun on them at the meeting. So when he pulled the gun out, the husband automatically attacked the dude to
Mhm.
protect himself and his wife.
Mhm.
Now, here's the tricky part. Now, this answers your question. The wife got on the phone, called 911. In her conversation, she was stressing, my husband is not the one with the gun.
Right.
The gun was pulled on us. When the
Mhm.
police get here, let them know
Mhm.
my husband is not the one who
Right.
pulled the gun,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And that's why, because automatically, black man, gun involved, let's shoot the black dude.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Argument between two people
That's going through their mind on their as they're rolling to the scene.
as they're coming. Now,
Yes.
you have the same situation with your boy who's 6'8", 305, solid. He gets in an argument with someone, let's say at a restaurant. Oh, they're arguing. I'm gonna go ahead and call the police. Okay, call the police. Okay, cool. So there's two guys here arguing. One of them's black. He's 6'8". The other guy is white. He's about 5'10". Oh, okay. Okay, who started to argue? Oh, well, no, we're on the way.
Right.
Automatically, just like you just said, as they're on their way, they're already in their minds, let me get to that 6'8" dude.
Exactly. Because he's the problem.
Automatically.
Mhm.
Because that's the big black guy. That's
Mhm.
the anger. No matter what happened, it could have been once they get there, they find out the white dude who started everything
I want to say this.
called this man and his wife, well, just the man out of his name.
I want to say this because again, how our minds are trained. Just like I made the mention in one of the other shows about the big lifted 350 with the gun rack and the antlers and whatever.
Mhm.
You automatically think redneck because that's how our minds are trained in this particular country. So when I describe this 6'8", 305 black man, we automatically think huge, deep voice, demeanor, athletic, take no shit.
Mhm.
What if he's a homosexual and he's really not even into violence, or he's not even, that's not even his
He ain't even
demeanor.
close like that.
Right. And but these
You know,
but
I know
the
dudes
law
who's that
enforcement-
big, and
the law enforcement officer on his way is already getting his morphines going, his adrenaline's going
already amped up.
because he's got to beat this big black guy's ass or shoot him. There's part of our problem. They talk about layers, they talk about
Yeah,
fixing
he's
shit.
getting amped up. He's getting
Yeah.
amped up already.
Yeah, you know, a solution to any city council member or
Oh
community law enforcement chief. Train your people to stop thinking one way. Train them to stop thinking one way because everybody's not the same. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. No,
So again, that's part of the problem.
But this goes back to
that is. I mean, we have reports.
that's
Go
part
ahead,
of the
go ahead.
problem. No, that's part of the problem. But this goes back to military personnel doesn't need to be law enforcement.
Correct.
In tactical
Well,
situations,
you know what? And the other part about that,
and I know how you feel about it, but it's the truth. Because when you're trained in combat and tactical situations, you're trained to take out the one you think will cause the most problem. That's the first you eliminate. Everybody else
you're
falls
trying
in
to
row.
take out the threat. Yeah.
Right.
The
Clear and
visual
present
threat was
danger.
first, yeah.
Clear and present
But the
danger.
problem with that is, yes, but most of the time nowadays is not just the ones who are ex-military
Mhm.
that are getting these quick assumptions.
Mhm.
I know, there's several guys who, you see who aren't. Matter of fact, before I'm gonna get back to that, but I want to get back to this: the idea of what you were saying earlier, Smitty, with the threat that these police officers see. There was a story, was it earlier this week? Police officers pepper spray a 9-year-old black girl. A 9-year-old little girl is a threat to you.
Come on, man.
It was, I think it was 2 weeks ago, where they had the family all sitting down on the ground and guns drawn on them. And there was a mom who with their 3 kids, and all of a sudden you got them all sitting in a parking lot with guns drawn on, and none of the kids was like over 12. So it's something that what you had touched on, the idea of not getting these police officers, they need to be taught that everybody's equal.
Correct.
There's no
That's what they need to
equality
be
though, and
taught.
that's the problem.
When and facts, and that's what they need to be taught.
And see, in
That
order for you to teach them
everybody
that, in order for you to
Will
teach
fly
them,
off the handle.
right? But in order for you to teach them that, that's where policies need to be changed.
Correct.
There has never been
Yes.
equality.
Yeah.
If you go back through the
And
Constitution,
policies.
right? If you go back through the Constitution, slavery never ended.
Mm-hmm.
They just configured the words to meet their need.
Well, great point, Shannon.
Uh-uh.
Slavery, the word, was abolished in the Constitution.
Right.
The act never ended. That's the difference. Again, the white Americans play this word game, and if we don't get hip to if we don't get hip to the word game, it's all in the laws. It's all how everything is written, what's in there, what's not said, what is said. Yes, the word slavery is abolished because it says abolish slavery, but the act is not abolished. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to continue on what Troy was saying about how they with the young folks and the mom that was detained. See, because again, we're talking about word games and how community enforcement personnel use words games. Oh no, you're not arrested, but you're being detained for your safety and my safety. So you're going to detain. You have to physically detain an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old. You big black or you big white American. You're 6'2", 250. You lift weights every day. You run. You got full body armor on, but you got to detain an 8-year-old. What's that say about your manhood, bruh? You know what I'm saying? Now, here's another problem.
Pepper spray a 9-year-old.
Once I get rolling, man, I keep going. And the problem is, here, and this is the thing. We're never going to have an understanding or respect because now, let's just say Sister Jane was driving by and seen my wife and my 3 little kids handcuffed sitting outside the car and called me, "Hey, yo, Smith, Popo got your kids handcuffed." What? Bruh, man, I'm on my way. When I get there, I'm the aggravated or aggravated black man. You know what I'm saying? I already got this thought process in my mind about a white American law enforcement. Do you really think this is going to end well for anybody? You know what I'm saying? So again, until the people that put the laws and the codes together for these law enforcement people, we're going to have a problem. Because like to Shannon's point, it needs to be standard across the board. From New York to LA, it's one way you have an interaction from the community employee service department to the citizens way. Because if you get detained in New York one way, you need to be detained in LA one way.
The same way.
Many different ways. And this is what caused the problems.
Yeah,
That's
but you know what? That is a good point. And
that's a good point.
And I don't, and I hate to say it because I don't want to be one that seems like I'm going to cop bash. I have no, and it is no secret. I have no respect for that blue uniform that they put on. I think the ones that are black and look like me are worse than their white counterparts. And they showed it and proved it. They became that house Negro. Whatever master say, they gonna do, and they gonna show their ass. I think honestly, when it comes to it, yes, we do need to reform. I'll never say we need to defund the police.
No, because that doesn't make any sense.
No, and most of these people really need the police. The police's job is to protect and serve. Nothing in that protect and serve means that they know the law. They're supposed to uphold codes. And we go back to this. They have to memorize codes. So people don't get it twisted. When they pull you over, 9 out of 10 times they done violated maybe 4 or 5 of your rights right off the bat.
Yeah.
You know, to be aware is to be alive.
Well,
You know, I
and it
would
is.
say-
And it's one of those things that we also still have to remember that now there's been such a huge microscope put on the police department. So everything that they're doing right now is being scrutinized.
It might be, but it's
And-
not changing anything. Just
No, and that's what I was getting ready to say. Well, because you would think that it would be, but bad cops are still doing bad things.
Yes.
that's because
know,
we
their
have no
behavior is
such
not
thing
gonna
as
change.
good cop. We have no such thing as good cop.
You know,
We have-
See, I cannot fall in that with you.
Why not? It's
That's
the
not
truth.
true.
That is true. We have no,
I
such
just
thing.
said, no, that
we-
is not true.
We have no such thing as good cops. And the reason, and my reasoning behind that is morally correct. If you know you have people in your department that are doing wrong and you don't speak up about it, you're just as guilty as they are.
You
So
might as well
there
do.
is no such,
You're implicit. Yeah,
right. So there is no such thing as a good cop.
I will
And
agree with
don't-
that.
And I don't want to hear, well, I got to go home and I got to worry about my family. You took a damn job to uphold the law. This is what you signed up for. This is what our tax dollars go to pay your salary. If you scared, go to church. In the famous words of Q, go to church. And honestly,
scared,
you
go to
may end
church.
up seeing a midget minister.
Right? Yeah. I see. So anyway,
I knew
look
you
here.
was gonna bring it back to the midgets.
So, you know, God, man, if I agree with Shannon, my mind wants to tell me that there's some community employees who are not horrible. However, it's a great point. If you know that this clown in your department is not on the up and up and you don't say nothing, you're just as guilty as that person is, you know? And the equilibrium to that is if we're in a 7-Eleven and all 3 of us are in there, we don't know each other, and one of us shoplifts, when old boy calls the popo and they come in, they rounding up all 3 of us because we look the part, we look suspicious, we fit the description. That goes along with community service people. Bruh, you may not be the one, but you look just like the rest of them, and we can't
But
tell
you
who
wearing
was
that
who, especially,
uniform.
and you ain't telling
You
us
wearing-
nothing. You know what I'm saying?
So,
So come on.
Man,
That's a good point. That is a very good point. And that is sort of like the attitude that the police department is facing because they all wear the same uniform.
Yes. You know, and then you
And
have
when
these,
you wear
then
the
you have
same
these,
uniform, just how go ahead.
when you have these
No, I mean,
these
because I look
leaders
at it the same way
of
with
the
a criminal.
department saying, "Oh yeah, my department doesn't operate like that. We don't believe in that. That's not our code." Well, bruh, surprise, surprise, you just had a motherfucker do exactly what you just said y'all don't stand for. So
Yeah.
come on.
we had that right here.
Absolutely.
We had a chief of police come out and say there's no such thing as systematic racism, but yet we turn around, his officers are putting knees on the back of black people, a black female's neck, and then we turn around and we see one of his officers beating a canine.
Kidnapping a protester, murdering a person,
Yeah,
beating an old man. So, and then he has the audacity to say, "Oh, no, that doesn't happen here in Vacaville." Hey, he's gone now, early retirement. But the mindset is still there in the department. And then you have supporters of terrorist groups condoning it, saying, "Oh, our department did a great job. They protected, and they did this, and they're so." You're just condoning it. You're an enabler. If your wife is a heroin addict and you say, "Oh, she looked pretty today in her dress, but she was still doing heroin," you're an enabler. You're allowed. She's a heroin addict. She's a heroin addict.
You're an enabler. And it's and I think that's what people need to understand. It's okay to say you're messed up.
Yes.
It's okay to say you've made a mistake. As long as you're willing to improve on that, as long as you're willing to turn the corner, so to speak, and start doing the right thing, fine. Just like with this police officer in Georgia who went, well, he was a sheriff. The sheriff went on and talking about how this dude had a bad day. Every sheriff throughout the country should have been up and saying, "Oh no, he killed
But
them
they
people."
can't. But see, and they
That's
can't.
not a bad
because
day.
But see, we can't say every sheriff should say that because the whole department is corrupt, and that just travels from state to state, country to country. We've seen it here. Our sheriff tried to cover up for his officers, his fellow deputies, with this 3%er crap.
Hey,
He knew what they were doing.
I have to throw this in there only because it's on topic, and that is for this clown to say he had a bad day. It's the words white Americans use to again get us looking at something else, which I call eye candy,
Dude,
and then try to build this image in our mind. So
No.
like
Hold
last,
on.
you know
Go
what?
ahead.
Go ahead. Keep going. I got a thing now.
so
No, because I
last
think
summer,
me and go ahead.
last summer,
Uh-huh.
I forgot exactly what happened. I don't know the chronological order, but there was a situation where some black folks had got into trouble, and on the news they was specifically saying, they could be armed and dangerous. Be careful. This person did that. This person did that. Swear to you, ask my wife if I'm lying. The very next segment was a young white American student who chopped up, severed his mom and his dad's
I'm
body.
sorry. I didn't mean to laugh, but
No, the white American severed his mother and his father's body. The sheriff of the town came on national TV and said, "Hey, Bobby, we love you. We know you're scared. Come on home so we can talk about it." Bruh, I almost fell backwards and did a backflip out of my seat. Like, really? Listen to the words these people are saying to try to put to paint a picture in our mind, man.
To paint a picture.
Yes.
Because I was just going to bring up, hold on, let me just finish. I was going to bring up how if a black person is caught using heroin, then he's a drug addict. He's probably a potential felon. He probably has a record. You have a same white American who gets caught with more heroin. Well, it's a disease that we have to fight.
Yes.
It's something that is tearing up our nation right now, that we all need to come and comfort everyone in this time of stress and need in our country.
Yes.
It's like, wait, so you telling me James is a dope fiend and lock up your daughters, but James over here, because he lacked pigment, we need to send him to the Betty Ford clinic? Is that? But that's how it. That's how we're being taught.
Yes.
That they're letting us paint a picture of that.
And people need to really just step back and look at it. Me and you had this talk earlier, Troy. So this whole thing with cannabis, quote unquote, as these states go around and say it's legal, and I want people to know, your states are saying it's legal. The federal government hasn't. It's still against the law. But my thing is this. I won't say I agree with it being legalized. I actually have a lot of problems with it right now because they found a way to make money off of something they've been locking our race up for years. So I have an issue with that. And then my thing is this: if we're going to be fully truthful about everything, if you're saying that's legal, open every other classification of drug up. You guys do it anyway. The majority of white people do coke, like left and right. So make that legal. You got alcohol, that's legal. That's a drug. Alcohol is taking more lives than anything else. So
Well, see, I think Shannon, I think now, man, you know what? I'm so glad us three are doing what we're doing, so we can just open up Pandora's box. You know, it was black bootleggers that was making a lot of money. They came down on us. So what they do, they legalize it, got us up out of there. You know, some small nickel and dimers. I knew a lot of nickel and dimers that was selling weed when I was coming up. You know, now they couldn't do nothing with it. So what they do, they legalize it now, right? You know, who makes them? I shouldn't say that. Pharmaceutical business. If you are the corporation, you are loving life right now. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where all the money is. So they're never going to like legalize like cocaine and heroin and meth, because the big pharmacy corporations sell the narcotic to wean you off of that, but now you get hooked on that. Man, it's a cold game. And until we understand that, man, they're gonna keep doing this shit to us until we figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, CVS is the largest legal drug dealer in the world.
Hey, look here.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember when the pandemic broke out, and 45 stood at the White House, and he had corporations there helping? Who was those corporations? CVS, Johnson and Johnson, Target, Pfizer, right?
Moderna.
All of these corporations, billions of dollars, who lobby Congress to make sure that certain things stay in place, right? And did anybody have a guess that Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson and Johnson wouldn't be the first to have vaccines? They was on the fucking Rose Garden with the president just a year ago. So again, understand the game, and then they're not gonna legalize cocaine, because these people make the counteractive drug to get you hooked on that, and then they charge you arm and leg if you go through your health care.
But
so what do they do?
But you know what? Even then, so because they still have a demand for it.
Yeah.
And they still have their demand for coca. So at the same time, and I have a problem with our U.S. government anyway, they go and they arrest El Chapo.
Come on.
And here's the thing. He didn't break any laws in the United States. So how are we? Yeah, his crimes were over in a country, not of the United States. He got a little bit out of control with what he was doing, because they allowed him to do what he did.
Chapo was being held on tax evasion, bro.
Right.
Did you say he got a little out of control?
He got a little.
El Chapo got a little out of control.
He got El Chapo. You know what?
Bro,
Like,
you telling me El
Chapo,
this man's nickname is El Chapo, and you're telling me he got a little out of control. Right. Okay,
look,
go ahead.
Look,
please.
Our U.S. government,
a little out of control.
CIA officials, and what a lot of people don't know, they watch the media and they say, okay, El Chapo's a drug dealer, he needs to be this and that. What they fail to realize is the way our government works. Our government hired El Chapo and his cartel to take out another cartel for him, in exchange for allowing him to move his drug weight back and forth. The CIA, they did it in the 70s, they did it in the 80s. This drug epidemic. I didn't see a black pilot flying in the 80s. We don't own planes.
Not at all.
We ain't bringing them guns in here. We're not bringing drugs in here, but yet they targeted us and said we were the problem.
Let me ask you guys this question. Let me pose this to you, because me and my oldest son had this conversation over the weekend. Black folks don't own one large corporation. What if what if the black corporation that produced AKs, what you think would happen to that corporation?
Oh, we're outlawing AKs. No.
Immediately.
This is the sneakiness of the government. They're not going to try to tear down that company because then they have to tear down all the companies. But all of a sudden, an AK is on that list of guns that, you know, all of a sudden they're right next to AF. Well, they already are, but I'm just saying, hypothetically, it's going to be a
You know what
push
they're gonna do?
to
You
get
know what
those
they're gonna do?
outlawed.
You know what they're gonna do?
Yeah, they're getting banned.
The government is going to do what they've always done and try to be sneaky. We all know
Yes.
who Bill Gates is. We all know who Bill Gates is. I actually look up to Bill Gates. I think he gangster for what he did. Government took him to court and told him he was in violation of corporate laws for trying to monopolize his own company. And at the same time, he told them, if I take this one piece out, you guys won't be able to go to the bank anymore.
Now what?
Facts.
Yeah,
Now what?
straight gangster.
Facts. And no, and that's true. And it was like, well, hold on. You're getting upset with me for creating a product that no one else had created yet. And no one since has created anything as big. So I don't understand. You know what? That brings me to something else. So, okay, stretch a little bit for all my Bernie lovers out there. This is where your boy kind of went off the rails. And this is just my opinion, but I'm gonna ask you guys what y'all think. So everybody's upset at what's his name, the head of Amazon,
Jeff Bezos.
Bill Gates.
Jeff Bezos.
Yes, Bill Gates and who? Bezos. She corrected you. Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. So Bernie decided he's going after them, saying that they made too much money during the pandemic. And that needs to be regulated. Now, my personal thought is, how are you going to tell somebody how much money they can make?
That's called capitalism.
What
called
part of the
capitalism.
game is that? That's what this country is built on.
Mhm.
How are you going to start telling people now that we cannot make the right?
What we can't
That
say this country is really
fear.
built on capitalism. This country is built on thievery.
Oh, yeah.
Everything they got, they stole.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I was saying capitalism.
modern
to
aspect
Floyd's
of it.
point about making as much money
Yeah.
as you want to.
About
That's
what this is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's what we're supposed to be. That's why every other country in the world hates us, because we're capitalists. Because we have the freedom to make how much we can possibly make. As long as it's legal, there's nothing wrong with it. And this was like on a Facebook thing, and somebody made a great point. Stop worrying about how much money they're making.
I was
No,
going
they
to
said
say,
stop worrying about how much money they're making, but tax them properly.
here's what I'm going to say to you, Troy.
Taxes, because what's that?
When it comes to, you made a comment where as long as it's legal, you can make as much money as you want. In this country,
Yes.
it can be legal. In this country, it can be legal or illegal. We have corrupt politicians all the time. And that goes to my point.
Yeah.
People need to be watchful, because these politicians get down in the dirt with dogs. You know?
But that's as long as politics has been going on. You've always had corrupt politicians. That's just like saying let's get rid of racism. You're not. You're always going to have a politician who's out there to make as much money or to get as much influence to further his or her own personal careers. You know, that's just a thing.
Here's the
But
thing, though.
when
that's
they
the good
come
thing.
after the idea, huh?
I said that's a good thing, though,
I
because
mean, I'm just saying.
all our young
What's a
people
good
gotta look
thing?
at, all our young people have to look at nowadays is that if you want to make a lot of money, just become a politician. How many politicians
Okay.
you know
No
make
one's gonna
over
go
$1
through all
billion a
that.
year?
No.
Let me say
No.
this. Let me say this. Let me say this. I think
Go
both of
ahead.
you guys, I think both of you guys make an outstanding point, and I just want to double down on that with what happened in the summer of 2016 when 45 was running and his arch rival Hillary. They had a forum or a debate or whatever you want to call it, and
Mhm.
Hillary decides to say, "Well, Donald, you haven't paid your taxes for construction on your buildings, whoop whoop." And this 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 is the one thing I respect about 45. He just said whatever the hell's on his mind. He didn't care the whose feelings he hurt. He said, "You know what? You're right, Hillary. I did. And you knew about it, and your husband knew about it, and every other politician knew about it, but it didn't matter because I was giving you guys money for your donations for your fundraiser. So why would you bring that up now?"
Yes.
That's my whole point, is that's how the government works. They know what they're doing. These large corporations know what they're doing. They're all playing the game. And if we don't play the game, they're just going to keep nickel and diming us, keeping us down, watching us fight over crumbs and fight over what color we are and fight over what, who's got the biggest house and who can't get into this school and that and then third. That's just how that works. That's how that works. And until we can get these Uncle Tom sellout that's in Congress and the House of Representatives, So I want to follow up with that. Check out the Asian community right now. I talked about this before. Since all of this happened, the Asian community has been on fire. They are in Congress right now passing laws to protect them from hate crimes. Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Shamir, all of these people have died. We have not had any bills in the House or Congress to put hate crimes on the front page. Not one. But the Asian community is already in Congress with a bill to make hate crimes against Asians a law. Come on, man. Where are we lacking? Where are we lacking?
You know where we're lacking?
And it's that one thing.
We're lacking.
Go ahead.
We're lacking in these so-called organizations out there that aren't for our community anymore. And there's no secret. We talked about it. Some of our churches in the community, not all, but some, our organization, NAACP. The only time they're out is media attention. Black Lives Matter movement, media. We need people in the community, leaders to stand up in the community and actually be about our race, be about doing that hard work and stand for the fight, because it's going to take a fight. And it's going to be a long haul, and everybody wants that quick, easy thing. I'm sitting back, and every week now, we've been mentioning Tamir Rice, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. We've been mentioning them because they haven't been forgotten by us. But I don't see nobody else out there. But what I do see, and I've always said, you cannot fix stupid. And we spoke about education last week. Solano County, our K through 12 system, the administration, our educators are stupid as hell. They're worried about opening up a school one day a week, and your child has to come and bring his Chromebook to an in-class school to do online learning. One day a week.
Is that how they have it set up?
Yes.
Money.
Are you serious?
Yes. One day a week.
Hold on. No. Hold on. So they're sending their kids with the Chromebook, and that's how they're teaching a class on the Chromebook?
Yeah.
So they're doing exactly the same thing we were doing at the house last week?
Yeah. And it's only for 4 hours at the school.
That's funny.
So
I'm not going to call them dumb or stupid, but I will call them incompetent.
I won't call them incompetent. Call it what it is. It's stupid. We have all these colleges out here. We have these community colleges and these four-year universities that aren't opening up because this is too serious. They're not
Yeah.
opening up this year. These are
No.
so if these colleges aren't opening up and that's a higher education field, why aren't the people who got degrees to teach not following suit?
You know, I'm gonna throw something on you right quick. That I always forget about, but then I'll see something and it gets brought back into my memory. The United States is the only country in the world whose school districts are paid for by property tax.
Mhm.
So the better property you have, the better community, the better your schools are going to be. So it's a matter of the have-nots still don't have, and the haves still keep getting, and that's fine. I mean, that's just the way it's set up. Now, what just came to my mind is we're all on an equal playing field. The pandemic had put all the schools on the equal playing field. Not worried about your property tax. We're not worried about how much your house is worth right now, because everybody is still learning the exact same way. The exact same way. And I just found that interesting. That, yeah.
Oh,
But because there's no
so-
point, if you're still gonna learn on a Chromebook, so you're telling me these teachers didn't have to bring in materials.
So here's to both of you what you're saying. So here's some, again, I go back to parent involvement and us as Black folks not being involved. All right. Since the end of segregation and Black folks can go learn in school, there's always been an education divide. There's always been the colored folks are not getting the same education for whatever reason. There's a lot of cultural reasons we don't get it, because they want to, segregate us into a little portion of the room or whatever the case is. So what happened in this pandemic is now white American parents see how difficult it is to teach a child. I don't care if it's in class or via Zoom. So a lot of them put it on Zoom or a computer, like, oh, my child can't learn via Zoom. They spend too much time looking at the computer screen, but knowing damn well they kid be on Xbox and PlayStation and a tablet for 35 hours out of the day. But all of a sudden, now they can't learn because their eyes are strained watching here. So they're not learning what they're supposed to learn. Now, here's the fun part. Here's the fun part. Black students have been getting that same education since segregation ended. No one cared. No one cared. But now that you see it and it's happened to little Becky, now all of a sudden it's a problem. You see what I'm saying?
That was the thing.
So again, it ain't got nothing to do with this screen. It ain't got nothing. All they care about, I'll be 1,000%. They just want their child in the school. So if something goes wrong, they can say, oh, it's the school's fault. You know what I'm saying? So like what Shannon always say. Shannon always say, you need to be teaching your own damn kids. That's what you need to be teaching, instead of letting these schools teach, and then you put all the blame on the school. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's so many different layers to all of this. There's money involved. It was $2 billion set aside for the state of California to get to their schools. You had to have it spent by a certain day, or you had to be prepared to open by a certain day, or you start losing 1% of your money that was designated for your district every day that you miss. Come on, man. It's such a money game. And then you get these white American parents who are all of a sudden they child ain't getting the education that they thought they was getting. And now it's a problem. So many layers, man. So many layers.
You know what? And
It's
show you
deep.
how slick they are. They start cold calling. Hey, we never got a form from you about if your student is returning to school.
Yeah.
And you know what? he because of the pandemic, he's never been here. Well, guess what? He won't be there
Still
now.
ain't.
Yeah. So what the hell?
Right.
You know,
I know we got the same thing because this is Madison's first year in high school. So, we got that sort of, Tiff and I both was getting the emails and, the automated calls and all that other mess. Like,
the thing is, if the government, and see, man, again, I know we always say this and we shouldn't have to footnote it, but I'm not a big conspiracy theorist guy, but I just kind of look at things and be like, man, you can't make this up. Why does
Yeah.
the government make this a political issue? It's never been a political issue. This is about human health and welfare. I don't care what color you are, because every person that's a human can die from this. Now, if they'd have made it as such and used it as such, we wouldn't have had these problems. But you made it to where being a mask meant you was this, or not wearing a mask meant you was that, or you divide folks. And now you saying that, oh, kids can't get it, kids can't transmit it. Man, it's mighty fucking funny since you started opening schools and allowing sports to happen. Kids are kind of getting it now. So don't
Yes.
tell me that nobody can get it when you didn't even know how this shit could get got in the first place. You were saying it was coming from a rat. Man, stop playing games with human lives. If you would just be real and say shit like it is, we could probably get a lot further, man, if politics wasn't
We
such
could.
a part of every little fucking thing.
You
Just
know what?
admit
We're about to see how, and Americans are slow. White Americans are really slow when it comes to learning things. We have some black ones out there that'll get out there on the bandwagon and jump board with them. Spring break is coming up.
Mhm.
How many of y'all gonna get your dumb ass on a plane and fly to Florida and
On their
and
way.
party? I got a drink.
Lake
in-
Havasu in Arizona.
Yeah.
I've seen many Negroes on those highlights out there acting a fool. You know what I'm saying? So again, ignorance knows no color. I don't care.
No. Ignorance is colorblind.
They're colorblind.
Just
You know what
like
I'm saying?
on that note, fellas, solution sign. But first, Shannon, give us your list.
My list.
Your list.
We got a list.
I got a
Breonna
list.
Taylor.
Oh, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. The list goes on and on. Emmett Till still hasn't been solved.
Yes.
You know,
Ah,
we can go back. It's been countless lives lost at the hands of police violence. And not one person is remembering these people, but probably their families and loved ones. We have to change and we have to be better. And we have to keep
yes, we do.
the people who are responsible for their deaths need to be held accountable. George Floyd, his case is still going on. We can't let that go by the side. Ahmaud Arbery, his case is still going on. Breonna Taylor, the so-called black special prosecutor, need to go find his ass. And
Okay.
yeah, he's one of them.
No, yeah, I feel you.
Malcolm, and like I said, Malcolm said it best. You have field Negroes and house Negroes. We have some who took it to another level and became a super Negro right up under master's foot.
Pastors
Presidents.
talking to you.
Okay. So I'm not even gonna mess with that one because you're right. So we're gonna come with solutions, people. Come on, gentlemen.
I got
Smith.
I got solutions.
Go ahead.
I gotta say, in order for us to really be on our own, I gotta give a shout out to my oldest son. We had like an hour and a half, 2-hour conversation last week about how is segregation beneficial to us? Can we get our own thing? But that aside, I think as Black folks, I don't care if you're dark skinned, light skinned, somewhere in the middle. I don't care if you're a practicing Muslim, a practicing Buddhist, a practicing Catholic, Christian, Libertarian, whatever it is that you are. Until we can come together as one people, we are not going to succeed. And being so colorblind and drinking the Kool-Aid for this religion that cares nothing about you, that's our problem. And we have pastors who are more about kissing ass than the cause of their people and the struggle that their people go through. And I want to say this, because it's not part of my solution, but that is part of my solution, is to stop blaming everything on religion, or stop thinking religion will shield you from everything, because it won't. We have pastors in this community that I know of. Call me if you want to, bruh. We have pastors in this community who I know of who went bad behind my back on me and my wife when we started kicking up dust against those white Americans who attacked my family. It was a Black pastor, and it was more than one that went bad on us. So anytime any Black pastor wants to talk to me about what you do for the community, bro, call me. Call Call me. I promise you that. Call me. Don't go behind anybody's back. Don't go running. That's the solution. You want a solution, Black Pastor? Call me. I'll give you a solution.
All right, now there's that one. Shannon, you got one, or can I go?
I have one real quick.
Mhm.
And I'll do it kindly to add on,
Yes.
so we can let the world know. So we can let the world know we have a PR guy. We have a
Oh, that's
PR.
Smith Dog.
It's Smith Dog.
Call
And
Smitty. You got a problem?
Smitty. I'm
Shoot
going
Smitty
to say,
a text, hit him on Facebook.
yeah.
Shannon's way too busy, and evidently nobody likes to talk to me.
Hey,
Right.
look here, before Shannon gets started, I'm glad I am the PR guy for Undivided. Call me. Hey, if you can't find me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, hit me on the text. Call me. Send me an email. It don't matter. Hey,
Okay.
beer pong legend. Find me at the liquor store because I know you pastors are alcoholics. It don't matter. I'm everywhere.
Okay.
Okay.
So now my solution.
With that said, with that said, Smith Dog is a PR guy. Don't call me anymore. You and your butt buddy can keep doing what y'all doing. Yeah. And with my solution, I'm seeing it more and more every day. I call them butt taps. They know who they are. My solution is us as Blacks. We'll never come to a point to where we can actually say we're united. Some of us will get along with each other, not all. Our Latino brothers and sisters out there, we all need to be working together. It's more of us than it is of them. And I don't want to exclude them because at the end of the day, we're all the same. We're all human. It's not even about a color anymore. And I think we need to get this concept out of our head about color. I think we need to start looking at people for who they are and working with each other. And that's my solution.
So I'm gonna just end it on this one because this is how we started the show on violence against Asians right now. And and I believe you said it, Smitty. All this is no, Shannon. I'm sorry. 40. You pointed out that 45 started all of this, and now where it's evolved to is now actual deaths, assassinations are occurring. But a funny thing happened on the way. They're starting to blame Black people for them. There's been post after post. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but a lot of people have been saying, hey, there's no black on Asian crime. And there isn't. We don't have, we don't have a dog in that fight. But we're that propaganda wheel is starting to spin so somebody can actually take the blame for it. And what's the easiest thing to do? You point out somebody everybody is already scared of. It's a Black man. We're already volatile, evidently. But we have to remember and make sure that everybody understands this. Matter of fact, do a little history search. The Asian community benefited the most from the civil rights movement. So we have no problems with the Asian community. The Black community does not have problems with the Asian community. Don't let them tell you that, because this mass assassination was not done by a Black man. All the hate you see on TV about people, protesters coming up, oh, that China flu has gotten us. That's not Black people saying that. As Shannon said, don't judge people, don't start looking at people on the color of their skin. Look at the people who are committing the actions that you're afraid of. That's where you're going to find it. That's where you're going to find the people that you need to be looking at. So on that note, I don't know where Shannon dipped off.
I want to say this. This is not a solution. It's more of a challenge, just to kind of end on a positive note. March is Women's History Month. Again, it should be a year. Not sure why it's just a month. But you know what? I think we owe it to the women in our lives, our wives, our mothers, our daughters, to acknowledge what they've done. I don't care how big it is. They don't have to have changed the world. They don't have to have created this. They don't have to, but their mere presence is power enough in their existence. And we need to show them how much we support them, because understand this, the woman, I don't care what color you are, but the woman has been oppressed just as much as Black, Asians, Hindus, and everybody else in this
Facts.
entire world. So if you're a white American woman and you think your life is great, understand there was a time when you couldn't vote neither. So
You couldn't vote either. Karen,
understand-
stand up.
I want to appreciate every woman, my wife, my mother, my sister, my daughter, my aunties. You know what I'm saying? It's been phenomenal women out here who changed this world. Shout out to man. I apologize. I don't know your names, and that's a shame on me, and I'm probably gonna go to hell for that. But I promise next time I'll know. Sister girl that's in the NASCAR pit, do your thing. I see you. I follow you on Twitter. Okay. Sister girl, the undefeated boxing champ of the world. Sister girl from Detroit, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? We got a sister girl that's running San Francisco. We got a sister girl that's running Sassoon City. We got a sister girl running Atlanta. We got a sister girl running Chicago. Please don't tell me sister girls can't do shit and all they can do is shake their ass. Teach her a little girl she can be more than that. That's what we about. Women's History Month is every year. Take care of your women, man. That's what I'm about.
We got a sister girl who, VP right now. We can do whatever we want to.
My bad.
Yeah.
All right, once again, as always, thank y'all for hanging out. This was a roller coaster. We had a few weird things and some good stuff, but as always, my brother Shannon, thank you. Brother Smitty, always holding it down. Beatrice, wherever you at, causing your ruckus, girl.
Right.
Keep it going. Remember to like us on Facebook, follow us, and share our stuff, please. Share whoever you may think may want to hear this, or whoever you don't like who need to hear this. Send it to them.
To the butt buddies out there.
Could you stop?
We
See,
catch
this
y'all
is a-
next week. It's been real.
Good night.
Catch y'all next week.